Peace, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, Great Man of God Media, right back at you once again with another GMOGMedia Spotlight. All right, family, I'm trying something a little bit different with this microphone. As you may know, I'm having some autofocus noise background issues with this camera that I have, the Nikon D5300, and the autofocus noise background is really annoying to me. But still, you can check out my previous GMOGMedia Spotlight videos. You can still hear my audio, which is fine, but just the background noise, you can hear it, and it annoys the crap out of me. Some people, they don't care, but just me, I just want to correct that and try to, hopefully this microphone fixes the issue before I upgrade my camera that I should be getting in shortly within the next month or so. Brand new 4K camera. But anyway, family, for those who are new, this channel, Great Man of God Media, I tackle issues pertaining to counter racism that affects black people, and I also address issues that affects our black community. I put that in quotations because we don't really own anything, but that affects our communities, that oppress our communities, that subjugate our communities, that marginalize our communities, and I offer suggestions on how to remedy those situations that affects our communities collectively as a group. So with this topic, as you can see in the title, I'm going to be addressing the Afrika BamBaataa situation, these allegations / accusations that are being, that are being upon Afrika BamBaataa. So many people are coming out the woodworks, accusing alleged child molestation, things of that nature, and him being accused as being a pedophile, things of that nature. I'm going to be addressing those issues and also talking about all of the surrounding issues that is affecting our community. So, but anyway, family. So yeah, this particular topic with Afrika BamBaataa, just a brief history about Afrika BamBaataa. You know, I'm a hip hop head. I grew up in a hip hop household. My older brother, definitely into hip hop, going back to the 80s as far as having vinyl records playing around. I can name all the old school records I have that I've listened to, from KRS-One, the Cold Crush Crew, Boogie Down Productions, Rakim, Just Ice. Oh my God, I was originally from Los Angeles, so I can name some old school West Coast rappers. Dezo Daz, he's an underground rapper from Compton. You know, you got King T, all the old school NWA stuff before they actually hit mainstream that came out, so on and so forth. So I'm a hip hop head, you know, for since the beginning, since the inception, or since the actual golden age of hip hop. So Afrika BamBaataa is one of the forefathers of hip hop, right? One of the founders of Zulu Nation. He obviously was the creator of Planet Rock, etc., etc. According to KRS-One, which I'm going to address later on in this video, KRS-One says that DJ Kool Herc is the founder of hip hop, right? And Afrika BamBaataa is the godfather of hip hop, with the electronic genre or subgenre of hip hop altogether. So, yeah, basically, BamBaataa is being accused of child molestation from many, many, many years ago, and the people are coming out right now accusing for alleged child molestation, things of that nature, sexual abuse, things of that nature. They are accusing Afrika BamBaataa of doing this for many, many, many years. This is going back to the 80s, I believe, that these accusers are coming out. One of the accusers, and shout out to Star from Star and Buck Wild. I think he's one of the ones that broke the story on his YouTube channel about all of these accusers coming out the woodworks, and with these alleged accusations. I have to say alleged, and I have to say accusations, okay? Because right now it's pending, and you don't want to get sued. So allegedly, accusations. You got to say that before you say what these charges are. But the topic at hand is very serious, which is why I want to cover this topic. But anyway, so he's being accused of child molestation, sexual abuse, etc., allegedly, by these victims. One of the victims was Ronald Savage, who came onto the platform and basically accused Afrika BamBaataa of child molestation. And that's a very serious issue that affects our community, that affects black people. Now, if you go back into, I always talk about my previous vlogs or my previous GMOGMedia spotlights where I address these issues. I talked about this on my spotlight video called "Why the Black Family Structure is on Life Support," and I mentioned one of the reasons why the black family structure is on life support is because of the homosexual and sexual abuse agenda that is plaguing our communities, that's affecting our children. Okay, and that is one of the reasons why the black family structure is on life support, because when you are molested, when you are abused, sexually abused as a child, that affects your psyche, that affects your soul. And when you are taken away, basically that's taking your innocence away, and that affects you for your whole entire life. And some people say, well, why are these accusers coming out 30 years later? You don't know unless you were a victim yourself, because a lot of these people, they hold everything inside. Their support system, which would be their mother or their father, if they tell them, believe it or not, the parents will not believe them. And I've seen this countless of times. I've seen stories where people say they told their immediate family, their mother, their father about, and it definitely could be a family member who is the suspect that will proceed with the molestation and the inappropriate touching of a child. They will start that. Then the child will go to their mother or their father, and they would say, this happened. And most of the time, when I've seen these stories, that the parents, they don't believe their children. So they don't have a support system, and it affects them mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. And so they have to wait so many years to finally talk about the situation in public and feel comfortable, because they didn't have a support system. And also, I'm going to address this later, but covering up these kind of issues within our communities, within any kind of community, not just the black community, but I'm particularly talking about the black community here, right? But these issues seem to be covered up all the time, whether truth comes to light and we find out this particular stories and these allegations become true, there is a sense of it being covered up by the powers that be. So with the Afrika BamBaataa situation, like I said, this is very serious. I have 3 young children myself, all boys. So, and everywhere I go, they're with me. Everywhere. So, I'm their protector. I'm their teacher, their leader, and I'll die for my family. And so when you have a situation where people are covering up these type of incidents, these type of allegations or accusations, and it has happened before. You look at the Sandusky situation that happened. Okay, everybody knows about the Sandusky situation, so I don't have to get into that. But yes, people do cover up these type of situations pertaining to child abuse, molestation, and things of that nature. And it's prevalent within our communities because this goes back into slavery. This goes back to chattel slavery. So and if you go back into antiquity, right? Go back into Africa. Okay. That society, okay. Now we are the forefathers of society. We founded basically everything in terms of culture that affects everything you see around us. Now, when it came to homosexuality, that was frowned upon. Okay, that was frowned upon our culture. Now, until the Europeans came over and invaded us, right? The Europeans, they made homosexuality, pedophilia, pederasty, which is males being attracted to young boys. They made that normal, okay? That particular situation affected our culture once the transatlantic slave trade took place, okay? So if you go back, there's so many slave narratives that you can read about from actual slaves who mention this in their memoirs about them having to perform hideous things to their family members, same-sex molestation. You get molested or raped by the slave master. The slave master will force children to have sex with one another. The slave master will force the mother and the siblings to have sex, etc., etc. So this goes back into slavery. And so that mindset, like I talked about before, post-traumatic slavery syndrome, PTSS, is still affecting us today. All right? And on top of that, you have cognitive dissonance, where you have information that's presented to you that's factual, but you are still under the assumption of protecting what you already know, or what you believe, rather. Going back, this segues into hip hop, right? So into hip hop, and for those who don't know, hip hop is actually a religion. According to KRS-One, and I'm going to read a brief transcript, but hip hop is a registered religion, okay? There are people protecting this religion, such as people like KRS-One, such as people like Afrika BamBaataa. They are protecting hip hop because it is a official religion according to the United Nations. But I'm going to read to you a breakdown of the hip hop and the Temple of Hip Hop, which is founded by KRS-One, and I'm going to address the KRS-One comments that he made about Afrika BamBaataa. But here's a brief synopsis. Here's a brief description of Temple of Hip Hop and how it's a registered religion. The Temple of Hip Hop is a ministry, archive, school, and society founded by KRS-One. Its goal is to maintain and promote hip hop culture. The Temple of Hip Hop maintains that hip hop is a genuine political movement, religion, and culture, and it has been accepted by the United Nations as a religion. The Temple of Hip Hop calls on all hip hop fans to celebrate Hip Hop Appreciation Week. It encourages DJs and MCs to teach people about the culture of hip hop, to write more socially conscious songs, and radio stations to play more socially conscious hip hop. Hip Hop Appreciation Week is celebrated on the third week of May each year. Hip Hop History Month, November, founded by the Universal Zulu Nation, and is also recognized. All right, now I'm going to read a comment that KRS-One made about hip hop. This is from allhiphop.com. Okay, and quote, it explores the spirituality of hip hop, the divinity of hip hop. I'm suggesting that it's in 100 years. This book, the book he's referring to, is called The Temple of Hip Hop. I'm suggesting that in 100 years, this book will be a new religion on earth. KRS-One told All Hip Hop, now you can talk about controversy. There's some Christian ministries. If you go online, look up some ministries, they dissing right now. Who the hell does he think he is? Well, I think I have the authority to approach God directly. I don't have to go through any religion or train of thought. I can approach God directly myself. So I wrote a book called The Gospel of Hip Hop to free all this nonsense garbage right now. I respect Christianity, the Islam, the Judaism, but their time is up. All right? So hip-hop is a religion. People are covering up issues that are going to taint hip-hop, right? And so KRS-One was recently on a podcast by, I believe, DJ Effin and Noriega. And I'm going to play the clip so you guys can hear. Of him addressing, he was asked a question about the accusations or allegations pertaining to Afrika BamBaataa. And he made a very, very disturbing remark about what he thinks about the situation with Afrika BamBaataa. So I'm going to play the clip right now and share my thoughts.
Like, how is hip-hop supposed to respond to the BamBaataa? Like, how are we supposed to do that?
What angle you want to take it from?
I just don't know. That's why it's a generic question. What should we do? Because you being our father,
sure.
Whatever you say, I have to move accordance to it.
Well, you know, first of all, controversy is not truth. What you want is truth right now. You want truth. Right. But truth is also not information. It's not gossip. It's not even conversation. For me, if you keep it hip-hop, nothing could be taken away from Afrika BamBaataa's contribution. Nothing. Just keep it hip-hop.
Right.
But if you want to dig into dude's personal life and accusations that's being made and so on, me personally, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Personally.
Right.
Look, if somebody was harmed or whatever was done or whatever, y'all deal with that shit. What? Deal with it.
Right.
That don't stop hip-hop.
Right.
That don't stop what you did for
hip-hop. Take away the
legacy. Don't take away none of it. History's history.
Right.
But deal with that. That's personal. I don't, I don't even know what to say.
Because I don't know the facts of the case either.
No, but even if you knew the facts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A person like me, I deal with dudes that are questionable all the time.
Right.
Not just if the accusation is rape.
Right.
I know dudes that are doing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you know anybody from prison, if you know anybody from the shelter, if you know anybody, if you lived really in the hoods, you know shooters, you know dudes running from your man might have an open warrant on him right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, I'm not judging these motherfuckers, man. It's my nigga right here, yo. That's it.
Right.
Now, what you do and your crime and your shit and your bullshit, whatever you doing, that's on you. That's you, my G. That's whatever you doing.
All right, family. So you heard the clip. So basically, in a nutshell, what he said, what KRS-One basically said is that I don't give a F about the accusations / allegations pertaining to Afrika BamBaataa because his contribution to hip hop trumps anything he done outside of that. Basically saying that his contribution to hip hop is bigger than our children. That is totally false, totally incorrect. Totally incorrect. And growing up, KRS-One was one of my favorite MCs. Now I got to take him out of my top 5 for those comments. Now I got to look at him very sideways for those comments. And now I have to basically just say, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Now, for me personally, if these accusations come out to be true, this will taint hip-hop. Because, again, anything that affects our people, that affects the black community, which means that oppresses our people, that disenfranchises our people, that subjugates our people, and hip-hop is the culture that, even though we created, now it's becoming an issue where it is disenfranchising, subjugating, and marginalizing our people, then we have to separate from that culture. Okay, so if you're going to align yourself with the culture, and if these allegations come out to be true of rape and molestation of our children, and you're okay with that, I'm going to separate myself. Now, I talked about this on a blog that I did a few years ago. I called it the truth about Christian. No, I think it was called the truth about Christian hip hop or something like that. I'll have the link in the description. Well, basically, I was talking about separating from the culture of hip hop, right? Because black people we are the most creative beings on the planet. And so I wouldn't mind starting a brand new culture, a brand new music genre, and moving on from there and just totally separating from hip hop. I wouldn't mind that. And I know somebody out there is going to do that. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. So music genres, they pop up, every couple years. So, and I would say we need a new culture. If this continues to happen, if this continues to be covered up, and if these allegations come out to be true, I would separate. I would definitely separate and create a brand new everything. Just disassociate yourself from hip hop and start a brand new culture. Okay. And yeah, that's what I agree. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. And so yeah, I mean, our children are the most important things on the planet, hands down. So yeah, I also wanted to address how Afrika BamBaataa addressed the media. For somebody who is so African-centered, quote unquote, for him to found his principles on things in Africa, aka Al Kabulon, he came out to respond to the allegations to a white-owned publication in Rolling Stones. Didn't talk to anybody in black-owned media publications, right? And shout out to Sonetta from Sonetta TV, who is going to be doing a conference, I believe this weekend, to address the situation by forming all the black media arms in New York to basically give Afrika BamBaataa an ultimatum. If you don't come out and respond to a black-owned media company, then we're going to boycott Zulu Nation. And me personally, I'll boycott the whole damn culture because he's a founder of it. So yeah, if I don't see BamBaataa addressing or responding to these allegations and accusations to a black-owned media publication, it's time to separate. It's time to separate. I would just listen. Hip hop is something I grew up on. It would be like a drug addict getting off some kind of substance or whatever kind of addiction you have. It's gonna be hard to get off of hip hop, but trust me, I'll start that process. I'll start that detoxification of hip hop if this man doesn't come out and at least address the media. And even further than that, if like I said, if he doesn't come out, if these allegations come out to be true, I would definitely separate myself from hip hop altogether. That's just me, family. I don't know about you guys. That's just me. All right. So that's what I wanted to say about that. That's just me. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys would do or actually do about the situation affecting Afrika BamBaataa. All right. Hip hop, just like the Dead Prez song, it's bigger than hip hop. It's bigger than everything. Children are now and our future. So we have to protect our children. We have to protect our black family. The black family structure has been on life support, but it could be a lot stronger if we solidify ourselves with the tools and the things that we need to maintain and sustain our people as a group. All right. So that's what I wanted to talk about, family. These allegations, these accusations are still coming out left and right. Just recently on Star and Buck Wild, the Star Channel, I think it's called the Star Chamber, he just had his bodyguard, the Zulu Nation former bodyguard, was talking about these allegations, things of that nature, and he had a lot of information that he shared amongst the people. And then also recently, he had Afrika BamBaataa's roommate talking about the situation. So there's a lot more people coming out the woodworks with this situation, and this is big. This is big. If this continues, this downward spiral, This is looking real bad for Afrika BamBaataa, the Zulu Nation, and hip hop in general. Yes, hip hop in general. It's looking real bad, real bad. So yeah, if these, like I said, if these allegations continue to be come out to be true, it's time to separate. It's time to separate. Even though I've been a hip hop head since day one, I wouldn't mind separating and starting from scratch from something that we created ourselves. So, all right, family, that's what I wanted to talk about. Also, make sure, again, Hidden Colors 4 is coming out May 26th. My company, Great Man of God Media, as well as my nonprofit, Sheer Inc., is sponsoring this event May 26th, 7 to 10 p.m. at the Cinema Paradiso, all right, in Fort Lauderdale. The link will be down in the description to purchase the tickets. Make sure you purchase the tickets ASAP because the event will sell out. Hidden Colors 4 is a film that everybody of color needs to see, hands down. Even if you're non-black, if you need to understand what racism is and how it works, you need to watch this documentary, all right? Watch this documentary and you'll definitely understand what's going on with society today and how systematic racism affects our people and the things we need to do to replace systematic racism, white supremacy, with a system of justice. All right, family. Chauncey, aka Ukarema, Great Man of God Media, signing out. Peace.